Hello, my name is Megan Knauer. I'm a rising junior pursuing a self-designed major in medical utilitarianism and a member of the incoming class of Margolis undergraduate scholars. Over the summer, my mentors were Dr. Jillian Saunders-Schmidler and Dr. Asandu Igboji. I am also grateful for guidance from Ethan Bohr and our entire Bass Connections team. As we hear, sound waves are captured by the outer ear, vibrating the eardrum. The middle ear then transduces these vibrations, which the inner ear encodes and the brain decodes. Damage to any of these components can lead to hearing loss, of which there are two main kinds. Sensory neural hearing loss occurs from damage to the inner ear or hearing nerve. Conductive hearing loss occurs when sound is prevented from getting through the outer or middle ear to the inner ear. We often think of hearing loss as an age-related disorder, but it presents a threat across the lifespan. Hearing loss poses a growing global burden, but is especially prevalent in low and middle income nations. Globally, hearing loss is the fourth leading cause of years lived with a disability. However, preventing and treating hearing loss looks promising to reduce this burden. For example, one of the prenatal causes of hearing loss is infection from rubella, which can be prevented through vaccination of girls. In some areas, primary prevention methods such as this may reduce hearing loss prevalence by up to 50%. And if hearing loss is acquired, there are treatment options such as cochlear implants, captioning devices, FM systems, and hearing aids to improve quality of life and reduce the burden of hearing loss on an individual and their support network. However, even when treatment is available, there remain barriers to scale up, which is an issue other members of my team are analyzing. My Bass Connections team is working with the Lancet Commission on the global burden of hearing loss to present an investment case for reducing this global burden. Our group has 3 work streams. The first is developing a robust model to study how the dynamics of hearing loss, the use of hearing healthcare, and hearing healthcare policy interact. The second is summarizing the current state of evidence on barriers to intervention scale-up and innovative scale-up strategies. And the final workstream pulls from our findings to present an investment case to scale up hearing healthcare interventions. Over the summer, I have worked on a variety of supporting tasks towards the group's workstreams. I have put together high-level summaries of the group's timeline, assembled readings for our Bass class, and searched for systematic reviews on various model parameters. One task I focused on most was developing an etiology table to inform our model building. I started from an already published table taken from the Bulletin of the World Health Organization's 2015 Call to Action on Hearing Loss. The original table listed various etiologies across the lifespan and their possible primary and secondary interventions. We modified the table to include more etiologies, then pared it down to the most clinically relevant causes. Since we are interested in each etiology's role in the global burden of hearing loss, we refocused this table to show incidence and prevalence instead of treatment possibilities. After forming our table outline, I began searching for data points to populate the table. I started my focus on the prenatal causes of hearing loss, which we divided into infectious, environmental, and congenital causes. Each of these had additional subcategories, which break down the causes of hearing loss further, so we can account for changes in prevalence and discrete costs from interventions once we build our model. Some of my estimates were obtained by locating the prevalence of a risk factor, then finding reviews of the prevalence of hearing loss given that risk factor. I would then multiply these two numbers together to get an overall estimate of the prevalence of hearing loss in the population specific to that risk factor. To find these data points, I conducted my searches first through PubMed, then Google Scholar, and finally through a generalized Google search. Systematic reviews or highly cited articles were preferred for table inputs, but in the absence of these, we may conduct further research before finalizing the table. As of today, the estimate searches are completed for the prenatal and perinatal etiologies. At the time of birth, congenital causes of hearing loss are over 3 times more common than the next largest category, infectious causes. Of note, I found that as an individual moves through childhood, the cytomegalovirus becomes a significant etiology of possible hearing loss. From here, I will continue populating the table with estimates for prevalence and incidence of the various causes of hearing loss across the lifespan. I hope to find estimates of etiologies in high, middle, and low-income nations to aid in developing a truly global estimate. The etiologies will inform the model our Bass Connections group builds, which will in turn help the Lancet's Finance Working Group. I'm looking forward to working further on this project and helping our teams collaborate to reduce this global burden. Once again, I'd like to thank the entire Basque Connections team for their work on this project. And I'd also like to thank you so much for taking a moment to hear about my work.